There comes a moment in your life where everything appears still, quiet, unchanging, perhaps even stagnant. But beneath that stillness is a truth so powerful it can alter the entire course of your existence. You are not far, you are not lacking, you are not late. You are one step away from winning everything. That step isn't found in the outer world. It's not in another strategy, another opportunity, or another person's approval. It's within, quietly waiting for you to believe. You have already imagined it. You've seen glimpses of the life you desire, the wealth, the love, the healing, the freedom. But what you must understand now is this: imagination is not a fantasy. It is the blueprint of creation. Whatever you accept emotionally without contradiction becomes your reality. You don't have to fight the current world. It's just an echo. It's not the cause, it's the effect. The cause lives in your consciousness, in that quiet realm where you dare to believe differently, feel differently, and live inwardly as though it has already happened. You ask, how do I make it real? You already have. The moment you imagined it and felt its truth, you set it in motion. But here's where most fall short. They look outward, searching for signs. They doubt, they contradict. They try, and in the trying, they signal to the world, it's not here yet. And so it delays. You don't win by chasing. You win by assuming. Assume the state. Walk in it. Speak from it. Sleep in it. And then let go. Let go of the how, let go of the when, let go of the version of you that believes it's hard or far or uncertain. Right now, at this very moment, you are standing at the edge of your breakthrough, not by effort, but by realization. You are one inward shift away, just one assumption, fully embodied, from seeing your entire world reflect your desire back to you. And when it arrives, as it surely will, you will not be surprised, because you already lived it, felt it, became it. And the world had no choice but to conform. Take the final step, close your eyes, see it, feel it, know it, and then rest in the truth that it's done. You're not waiting to win, you've already won. And now, the world is simply catching up to your inner knowing. You're one step away. And that step is you. Choose to step in and receive everything. What you vividly imagine and emotionally accept becomes the mold for your future. Imagination is not a passive daydream. It is the very substance of creation. The world you see, touch, and experience is nothing more than the shadow of your inner world. To imagine a thing is to give it form, to impress it upon the unseen fabric of life that weaves itself into reality. You are not a spectator of life. You are its cause. The images you entertain and the emotions you attach to them silently set into motion every visible change you will encounter. Most people believe they are waiting on circumstances to shift, but this is a misunderstanding of how reality truly works. Life does not begin out there, it begins within. What you consistently imagine with feeling must eventually take shape in the outer world. Imagination is the first act of creation. It precedes every action, every result, every visible effect. If your inner conversations are filled with doubt, fear, or lack, the world will faithfully echo those vibrations. But if your mind is saturated with visions of fulfillment, peace, and abundance, then you are setting the pattern for a richer, more aligned experience. Imagination is not wishful thinking, it is not fantasy. It is the conscious direction of thought in a chosen direction, combined with belief and emotional conviction. It is the ability to close your eyes and see yourself already being, doing, and having all that your heart desires, and to accept that vision as more real than what your senses currently report. The senses may say it is not yet, but imagination boldly declares it already is. This is not denial of reality, it is recognition of a higher reality, one that you shape, moment by moment with the images you hold in your mind and the states you dwell in. To imagine vividly and accept emotionally is to impress upon your subconscious mind a new instruction, a new code for what life must produce. Your subconscious does not argue, it does not reason, it accepts and obeys, and it accepts most powerfully that which is charged with feeling. So when you imagine something and feel it to be true, your entire being moves into harmony with that state, and the world outside responds accordingly. This is why you must guard your imagination more carefully than anything else. If you fill it with worst-case scenarios, fears, and what-ifs, you are unconsciously planting seeds of distress. But if you fill it with scenes of joy, success, and completion, you are aligning yourself with an entirely different harvest. Your outer life is not random, it is a perfect reflection of your dominant inner state. Stop waiting for change to come from the outside. It never will. The shift you seek begins inside you. Imagine what you want not as a distant hope, but as something already accomplished. See yourself as already there. Feel the outcome as though it were your present moment, and persist in that feeling even if nothing changes at first. Because once the new pattern is firmly accepted within, life has no choice but to match it without. You are never stuck. You are never without power. Your circumstances may feel fixed, but your inner world is always flexible, and that inner world is the blueprint for everything else. Once you master this truth, you realize that the world bends to your imagination, not the other way around. You are the artist. Imagination is your brush. The canvas is your life. What you choose to paint will inevitably appear. So paint wisely and paint boldly, because imagination is the first reality and everything else must follow. You must feel now what you desire to feel then. This is the secret of creation, the hidden key behind every transformation, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not about waiting until the condition changes or the desire arrives. It is about entering the state now, inwardly, before anything seems to justify it. To assume is not to hope, is not to plead or to wish. It is to accept something as already done, to claim it as your present reality, even when the outer world still reflects the old pattern. Creation begins in feeling. What you feel to be true, even in the absence of evidence, is what shapes the evidence that must eventually appear. Life does not respond to what you want, it responds to what you are. And what you are is determined by the state you consistently occupy. So when you assume the feeling of already being wealthy, loved, healthy, or free, you shift your identity. You no longer approach life as someone lacking, you live as someone fulfilled. And the world, by law, mirrors that new identity. You must learn to live from the end, not toward it. Ask yourself, if this were already mine, how would I feel? Then step into that feeling, carry it with you, let it color your thoughts, influence your reactions, and guide your actions. You're not pretending, you're aligning. You are claiming the truth that exists beyond the senses, trusting that inner conviction more than the outer facts. To sustain this assumption without contradiction is the great challenge. Because the moment you look around and see the old world, you'll be tempted to say, it's not working. But the outer world is always delayed. It reflects the past. If you judge your new state by the old reflection, you interrupt the process. But if you persist, calmly, quietly, confidently, the outer must yield to the inner. The feeling is the secret. It's not the words you say or how many hours you visualize. It's the feeling of the state that impresses the subconscious mind, and once that impression is made, it sets a chain of events into motion. You may not see how the change comes. You don't need to. Your role is to feel it done, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and then rest in that knowing. This is not effort, It's not striving, it's a quiet certainty, a still inner declaration, it is done. And once that feeling becomes natural, once you begin to respond to life as that new version of yourself, the old world begins to dissolve. New people show up, unexpected paths open, synchronicities appear. What once seemed impossible now arrives without strain. Assuming the wish fulfilled is not just about getting things, it's about becoming the version of yourself that already has them. That version exists now, not in some distant future. And every time you feel the state of your desire as already real, you are merging with that version. You are collapsing the distance between desire and manifestation. There is no power greater than the power of assumption when it is sustained without doubt. This is how you move mountains without lifting a finger. This is how you heal, attract, change, and rise. Not by force, but by alignment. So today, choose your state deliberately. Ask, what do I desire? Then ask, how would I feel if it were already true? And make that feeling your home. Return to it again and again. No matter what appears, hold that inner state, nourish it, trust it. And soon the world will have no choice but to catch up. Your assumption, when held without contradiction, becomes fact. Because reality always yields to the one who dares to feel the truth ahead of time. Nothing happens to you, everything flows from you. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, people, or fate. You are the operant power, the cause, not the effect. This understanding is the foundation of true freedom. Until you recognize that everything you experience begins within you, you will continue to fight shadows, struggle with reflections, and blame a world that is only showing you what you have unconsciously accepted as true. You have been taught to react to life, to believe that outer events dictate your feelings, your confidence, your worth. But this is a misunderstanding of how reality truly functions. The outer world does not initiate anything. It only reflects. It is a mirror, obedient and neutral, responding faithfully to your inner assumption. When you persist in a certain state of being, whether it is lack, joy, fear, or abundance, the world rearranges itself to echo that inner state back to you in form, experience, and event. This is why no change can be permanent unless it begins in consciousness. You may change your location, your job, your relationships, but if your inner state remains the same, you will recreate the same problems, the same disappointments, the same limitations. You will say, why does this keep happening to me? But the truth is, it is not happening to you. Your dominant thoughts, your inner conversations, your emotions, all of these are creative. They are seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious, and every seed brings forth after its kind. You cannot plant thoughts of unworthiness and harvest fulfillment. You cannot water fear and expect peace to blossom. What you impress within is expressed without. That is law. You do not need permission to change your life. You need only accept the truth that you already are the power. You always were. You have simply used this power unconsciously, imagining what you don't want, dwelling in worry, feeling the absence rather than the presence of your desires. And the world, as always, has obeyed your inner state. But the moment you decide to reverse this, to take conscious control of your inner world, the entire trajectory of your life shifts. You stop being a victim of conditions and become the master of your reality. This does not mean things change instantly on the surface, but they begin to change immediately in substance. And if you persist, the form must follow. Understand this clearly. Nothing and no one has power over you unless you grant it. People are not acting independently of your consciousness. They play the parts your state assigns to them. If you dwell in rejection, you will experience rejection, not because the world is cruel, but because your state calls it forth. If you dwell in love, peace, and abundance, those states must also manifest. It is not magic, it is law. You are the operant power, which means you must operate the law. Simply knowing it is not enough. You must live from it. That means when things look unchanged, you do not panic. You do not revert to the old self. You hold the new state as real, unshaken, calm, confident. And in time, the outer world will reflect what you have chosen within. This is not about controlling people or forcing outcomes. It is about self-mastery. It is about understanding that your consciousness is the only cause, and the only change needed is in you. As you shift, the world must shift with you. The power is not out there, it is here within your awareness. You are not subject to life. Life is subject to your inner world. So begin to dwell in the state you wish to experience. Assume it, feel it, live in it, and then trust the process, because you are the operant power, and life always moves according to your command. What you see around you right now, the people, the situations, the conditions, is not the truth of who you are. It is not the evidence of your present identity, but merely the reflection of your past state of consciousness. Everything visible to you today is the outpicturing of thoughts once consistently entertained, feelings once accepted as normal, and beliefs once held as fact. It is old news, the residue of yesterday's thinking. This means what you see is not fixed, it's not permanent, it's not a verdict. It's simply the echo of who you once believed yourself to be. And just as your past thinking shaped your current reality, your present awareness is shaping what will come next. That is the power you hold, the power to transcend what is by refusing to be defined by it. Most people make the mistake of treating their current circumstances reality itself. They see lack and assume they are lacking. They see rejection and conclude they are unworthy. They see delay and believe they are being denied. But the wise one understands, what I see is not who I am, unless I keep identifying with it. You may have once believed in limitation, in struggle, in being unseen or unsupported, and the world obediently arranged itself around those beliefs. But if today you choose a new concept of yourself, one of abundance, peace, success, love, then you begin to plant the seeds of a different tomorrow. The key is to stop watering the weeds of yesterday with your present focus. The moment you dwell on what is as if it were permanent, you re-energize it. You give it life, not because it has any power of its own, but because you supply it with your attention, your belief, your emotional energy. And in doing so, you delay the arrival of what is truly yours. The life already formed in imagination, waiting for your full alignment. You must learn to disbelieve what you see if it does not match what you have claimed within. This does not mean you deny it irrationally, but you deny its authority to define you. You acknowledge it as an old photograph, a snapshot of who you used to be, and you move on inwardly into the self you now choose to occupy. This is why inner work is so crucial. Your outer world will always be a lagging indicator, a delayed reflection of your sustained inner state. If you judge your progress by what you see, you may be tempted to give up, to doubt, to revert. But if you trust the process, if you persist in your new assumption regardless of appearances, then change becomes inevitable. Everything is delayed on purpose. It's built into the nature of manifestation. The delay allows you to fully stabilize in the new identity before its outer counterpart arrives. So when you see old conditions, remind yourself, this is simply the final echo of a past belief. It's fading, it's dissolving, it's not who I am anymore. Your job is not to fix the external. Your job is to remain faithful to the unseen, to walk by inner vision, not outer evidence. You carry within you the power to completely renew your world, but only if you stop feeding life into the illusion that your current conditions are permanent. Nothing is final unless you say so. The world will mirror your decision. Choose now to see yourself differently. Live from that decision and let the old fall away without resistance. What you see is old news. What you imagine is breaking news. Let the headlines of your life come from within, not from the outdated stories around you, because your power lies not in what has been, but in what you are now choosing to become. Delay is not denial, it is preparation. It is the silent rearrangement of the world to match your new inner state. Just because you don't see the outcome yet does not mean it isn't already on its way. The seed has been planted the moment you imagined and felt your desire as real. The soil is your subconscious, and it never fails to bring forth what has been impressed upon it with conviction. But like any seed, there is an appointed season for its blooming. The unseen bridge of incidents that leads from assumption to manifestation is always forming, always unfolding. And it may not look the way you expect. It may not announce itself with clarity or appear as a straight line. Often the path is veiled, strange, unpredictable. But make no mistake, it is perfect. Every event, every detour, every delay is part of a divine sequence designed not just to deliver the desire, but to make you ready for it. The moment you claim something in consciousness, life begins to shift. People are moved, doors begin to open, and timing aligns itself. But these movements are often invisible to your senses at first, and that's where most people fall away. They look with their eyes, see no proof, and conclude it's not working. But the wise understand that what is unseen is more real than what is seen. For what is seen is temporary, but the unseen is eternal and causative. This is why you must trust the process. Trust it even when nothing seems to happen. Trust it when things appear to go the opposite way. Trust it when you feel forgotten, unseen, or delayed. Because delay is never punishment. It is not rejection, it is preparation. It is the grace of life saying, I'm building the perfect path for what you've asked for. Be patient, but not passive. Remain faithful, but not frantic. Rest in knowing, not in needing. Preparation means something greater is being shaped, both in the world and in you. Sometimes the very delay is designed to stretch your faith, to refine your trust, to mature your vision. You may need to shed old fears, outdated beliefs, or unhealthy attachments. You may need to become more aligned with what you've asked for, so that when it arrives, it can stay. So the delay is never wasted time, it's transformation time. Instead of asking, why is it taking so long? Begin to ask, who am I becoming while I wait? Because the moment you assume your desire is already yours, life begins working behind the scenes. Your only task is to remain loyal to that assumption. Persist in it. Return to it when doubt creeps in. Dwell in it even when nothing changes externally. And soon the invisible becomes visible. The delay dissolves. The manifestation appears, not as something you chased, but as something that was always yours. Everything that unfolds on the bridge of incidents is purposeful. The conversations you overhear, the unexpected meetings, the detours, even the closed doors, these are not accidents. They are threads in the divine tapestry that leads you to fulfillment. Nothing is random. Everything is a response to the state you dwell in consistent. So do not let temporary silence shake your inner certainty. Do not let a delayed result convince you to return to the old self. Stand still in faith. Relax into trust. and give thanks now for what is already forming, because delay is not the absence of progress, it is the quiet shaping of perfection. And when it is time, when the way has been cleared, when you have become the version of yourself that fully aligns with your desire, it will appear, effortlessly and inevitably. Your assumption is sacred. Hold to it, rest in it, for what is yours cannot miss you, and what you've claimed within must become fact without. The final step is letting go. Not letting go of your desire, but of the need to force, to control, to doubt, or to constantly seek confirmation from the outer world. This step is the quietest, yet the most powerful. It is the sacred moment of inner surrender. The deep, unwavering knowing that what you have claimed is already yours, regardless of appearances. It is the shift from effort to trust, from striving to being. So many begin their journey with vision and hope. They imagine vividly, feel deeply, and begin to occupy a new inner state. But as time passes and outer circumstances seem unmoved, they begin to watch and wait with anxious eyes, asking, "Where is it?" This constant looking for results reveals an inner state of disbelief. It suggests the desire is still separate, still uncertain, and in that moment they step out of the very state that brings the desire near. Letting go is not abandonment, it is alignment. It is the recognition that what you desire exists now in a higher dimension of consciousness, and that you have already entered into union with it by imagining it and feeling it real. The need to make something happen dissolves because you know it is done. You do not chase what is already yours, you live from it. Letting go is the ultimate act of faith. It is resting in the truth of your inner experience even when the outer world shows nothing in return. It is walking through life as though the thing has already happened, because inwardly it has. There is no struggle in this step, no pushing or pleading. There is only stillness and quiet confidence. This surrender is not passive. It is powerful. It allows the subconscious mind to move freely without interference. It opens the path for the bridge of incidents to unfold naturally in ways you could never predict or control. The conscious mind, with all its questioning and doubting, often delays what the subconscious is ready to deliver. But once you let go, once you rest in the knowing, the channel's clear. Life can finally do its work. It's like placing an order in a restaurant. Once you've placed the order, you don't go into the kitchen to prepare the meal yourself. You don't keep asking the waiter if the chef has started. You trust the process. You sit back and wait, knowing your request is being handled. That's what letting go feels like. You have assumed the wish fulfilled. Now you remain still in that assumption. This stillness is not indifference. It is faith in motion. You may still visualize, still affirm, still feel the desire, but it is no longer coming from a place of trying to get. It comes from already being. The difference is subtle, but the impact is profound. You are no longer reacting to appearances. You are anchored in your inner world. You've released the how, the when, the who, and you have embraced the truth that what's yours must find you. Letting go also means releasing attachment to specific outcomes. Sometimes what you think you want is only a symbol of something deeper, and life knows how to deliver the essence of your desire in ways far better than you imagine. So when you let go, you are also making space for the highest form of your wish to come to pass. The final step is the quietest. There is no parade, no dramatic moment, just an inner shift, a calm breath, a gentle release, a silent declaration. It is done. And in that moment, you become magnetic. Life rushes to meet the version of you that no longer needs, no longer begs, no longer waits. You let go, not because you've given up, but because you finally understand that you've already received. Everything you've ever wanted is already waiting for you, not in some distant future, but in the invisible realm of your own consciousness. Your imagination is not fantasy, it is the blueprint of creation. You are not at the mercy of external conditions, you are the cause. The world does not shape you, it reflects you. What you see around you is not permanent truth, but the residue of your former thoughts now fading. Delay is not life saying no, it's life saying, I'm preparing something better than you expected. And when the time is right, when your inner conviction is stable, the final step is not more effort, but less. It is letting go, trusting, knowing, living from the end. You are powerful beyond measure, not because you try harder, but because you realize you never had to. The assumption held in feeling, believed with persistence, and surrendered with faith must express itself. It is law, it is done. Saying thank you. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for daring to believe in something greater within yourself. May you now walk boldly in the direction of your highest self, knowing that everything is already yours.